Prince Harry, Prince William were reunited over this. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you today. Found an even cooler spot actually. We've had a bit of a heat wave over here in the United Kingdom. If you are here on holiday, do let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think to the weather. Bit of a shock. I was talking to a couple of foreign friends that I met earlier today, and it was interesting, because they said, we were always told London was rainy, cold, and all this sort of stuff. And I said, don't worry, that won't be too far away. Felt a bit bad afterwards when I'd said it, but then you think it is a bit of a shock actually coming here and finding it so warm, so humid also. You don't like that sort of weather, do you? I know, are you with me? Yeah, I like just this time of day is quite nice. It's just slightly cooler now, a little bit easier to move around in. I know, it's time for the stretch clothes, I think, you know what I'm saying. Back as ever to your royal story of the day. Fascinating story this, because you have to then decide whether it's true or not true, as the case may be. Now, what's interesting, as we all know, when you think about ex-royal employees, as we saw recently with Angela Kelly, they're either tied down or let loose and run free. And once they're let loose and run free, you have a problem, because then they start to write books, they give their varied accounts and all of that sort of stuff. Now, one person who's done incredibly well out of their association with none other than the royal family is the former trade carrier himself, Paul Burrell. Now, Paul, of course, was married for many years, has a couple of children, and ran a flower shop, allegedly, once he'd left royal employment. He was, according to him, Princess Diana's rock. What's interesting with Paul is simply this, and I have met him. He's one of these people that is very gregarious, very engaging, and of course you could understand at points why the late and beautiful princess may have taken him into her confidence. But I'm not sure to the level that Paul allegedly claims. You get the picture. But according to a good source, and as yet to be sort of verified or indeed slapped down by the former trade carrier Paul Burrell, apparently just ahead of the wedding in 2018 between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, both Prince William and Prince Harry invited him to Kensington Palace for a oh-so-secret meeting. Apparently they wanted to know some of the other secrets that perhaps they couldn't fit into the jigsaw about their late mother. Now, as I say, this particular story has carried a bit of traction over here in the United Kingdom and just claims a royal source. So I want to put this out to you because this is quite simple, really. As you know, Paul Burrell does have something of a strange relationship, if you recall. He kind of, in some respects, had a situation with our late monarch, who suddenly remembered that he could keep the frocks and whatever he'd borrowed, shall we say, in his house. And I say that with the most of caringness, as one can imagine. But what's interesting about this story is, if Paul and the princes did have a meeting at Kensington Palace ahead of that royal wedding, well, it's quite simple to verify. We put a call into Kensington Palace, and they tell me that in that particular period of 2017, there was simply nothing noted in the book. This is the security book. Now, what's interesting here is every single visitor, no matter who you are, is listed in the book, unless you get waved through. That is a possibility. But why would they wave through an ex-employee? Doesn't really make sense. Who would remember him at that particular period? And more importantly, let's not forget that as early as January of this year, upon the release of Prince Harry's book Spare, he was less than kind about the former butler to his mother, basically slating him for writing and revealing so much, and indeed writing that very salacious book. So it sort of beggars belief, really, that this particular story is true. And one might suggest that it's been created in order to put someone back in a bit of a favourite position, a very lucrative favourite position. So unless, of course, the palace come forward with some definitive proof, or indeed, which I'm sure would happen, Mr. Burrell would have a special pass for that day, which I'm sure he could provide, then we really just have to take this very big story with a huge grain of salt. As ever, I'd love to know what you think to this particular story in the comments below. Neil Sean, Kensington, London.